Good evening to everyone and welcome to Forex Street webinar. Today is 7th of April 2015. My name is Nenad and today I will show you how to turn scalps into intraday position. So this is a little trick that I do occasionally when I see that there are some scalping opportunities, but I'm not ready, for example, to take intraday position yet. So this technique which I use is very simple. As you know, I like to keep it very simple. And this technique can be very, very useful for you if you are not sure whether to take any intraday positions or not. The thing is, for this kind of market trick, we should have momentum, and normally if we want to scalp, we always need to have a momentum. So before we begin, as always, our standard is disclaimer, then we can proceed with this webinar. Online educational materials are developed by Admiral Markets as Estonia for a global audience. Therefore, please take into consideration that the information in this session may not be suitable for everyone. To get a corresponding information on charting conditions and any other detail, please visit www.admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence, and contact an appropriate entity. Risk disclosure statement stating all possible risks associated with Forex market. By accepting the risk, you're also proceeding further with me. Admiral Markets entity takes no responsibility for the information accuracy. The analysis represents the personal opinion of the author, it's me, and in no way it represents the actual suggestion for the trade. These are not MUK's opinions, and the website in the video is not a .co.uk website, but the globalnews.com website. Forex is risky business, and this should not be taken as advice. It's a personal opinion for informational and educational purposes only. Okay? So, with having said that, we are ready to proceed. Just a quick reminder. Admiral Markets has a bonus campaign. If you sign for a bonus campaign which will last till end of April, you can receive up to 50% bonus on deposit. For both new and existing client, 0.25 lots should be made per each euro bonus and 180 days to complete. This is the address where you can check the deposit bonus. And one more thing to say, it's pretty much good to have a bonus, because if you have a bonus, you can expand your margin. And by expanding your margin, you're basically having more chance to avoid so-called margin call. Okay? So this is actually a good thing. Today, as scalping, what are scalp swings? No. Okay, so let's cut to the chase. What is scalping? Basically, scalping is the quickest way of trading. The quickest way, we need to say, guys, if you have sound problems, I'm checking here with my computer. It seems that everything is fine. So please try to raise the volume, and you should be fine, because I'm speaking right to in front of my headset. Okay, so pay attention. Scalping is the quickest way of trading. That means that we need to exploit now momentum versus previous momentum, which is aligned with trend. If we want to scalp, we need to have both momentum and volatility. Okay? Generally speaking, scalping uses very small stops, in contrary to intraday trading, which uses slightly bigger stop loss placement. For intraday trading, we need to align retracement, which is a loss of momentum, with, let's say, higher time frame trends. And for scalping, usually we need to follow a current trend with higher time frame trend and exploit huge momentum push. If we are lucky enough to have a good momentum push, we can basically trade lower time frames on M1, M5, and M15 and try to turn those lower time frame entries into intraday swing positions, and that effectively puts us in the position of trading very low time frames, but trying to grab not 5 or 10 pips as most scalpers do, but trying to grab 15, 20, and sometimes even 30 or 40 pips. That is the technique which I call scalp swing, and scalp swing is something in between scalping and intraday positioning. Okay? And this is the technique which I use very often when I do scalping and when I do generally day trading with pairs where I don't have any position open. Okay? As I already said, scalping is the quickest way of trading. You just cannot have anything faster than scalping. Okay? Then exploiting sharp movements. Sharp movements are they happen very often in forex market, and they're very dangerous. If you have witnessed today's trading session, you saw that euro dollar had a great breakout of 900 level, and it actually was a stop grab. Now, if we were in the right side of the market, we could have made some 30-40 pips instantly, even with scalping. Okay? That means that we are using so-called momentum push. Momentum push happens when previous sellers or buyers now turned buyers or sellers, and stop grab is happening on lower time frames. When stop grab is happening on lower time frames, the momentum which creates on 1 minute or 5 minute time frame can indeed turn into M15 momentum, giving us the chance to effectively do a stop grab trade. And that is what we try to exploit by this technique, which I will show you today. Scalping, guys, you know that always use leverage. So if you want to scalp, definitely you will use some of the leverage. Of course, with intraday positioning, initial lot or volume size traded is not as big as when you scalp. Obviously, because scalping is the way to grab quick profit and make quick in and out. Of course, not making high frequency trading, but indeed trying to exploit momentum for at least 2 or 3 times per session. Okay? It's done on lower time frames always, and targets are lowered accordingly. But with this technique, you can definitely forget about taking only 5 pips, because even, guys, if you scalp, 5 pips is not enough to make consistent profits. Breakouts are also one of scalping strategies, and I love to take breakout trades, especially when important swing highs and lows are broken. Some time ago, some brokers prohibited scalping, and if you see that some brokers prohibit scalping today, then definitely, guys, stay away from such brokers. Scalping can be dangerous, but it also can be profitable. Okay? We have a question now that there is a gap on euro dollar, so I need to see where the gap is. Last time when I checked the chart, there wasn't any gap on euro dollar, but I'll take a look after we finish with the webinar, so that will be the time when I can answer your questions and proceed with other form of questions which are not concerning this webinar. But at the time being, please focus your attention on this little trick which I will be showing very, very soon. Now, just let's finish with scalping introduction. How Forex scalpers make money. First and most important thing, as for all trades, you need to be patient. If you're patient enough, that patient will definitely pay out, because even if you want to make scalp trades, you need to know when to enter the market. It's not enough just to pick the level because euro dollar was too high or euro dollar was too low and then enter the market. There are some important rules which needs to be fulfilled before you try to enter the market with scalping mode turned on. Scalping uses also low spreads, and because of low spreads advantage, you can scalp every single pair which has spread less or equal to 1 pip. Even if pair has 2 pip spread, you can try to scalp it. But anything which is more than 2.5, 3 pips is not used for scalping purposes. Especially because there are some pairs, of course, if you don't use ECN broker, then some pairs have bigger spreads, 5, 6, 7 pips. Forget about scalping if you want to trade these kind of pairs. If you see that pairs do indeed have 5, 6, 7 or more pip spread, then those kind of pairs are used only for intraday or intra-week trading. But most of the time, ECN accounts and ECN brokers do have very, very low spreads. I need to say that with my Admiral Market Prime account, we have really, I'm using very, very low spreads, and especially that is the case when I try to scalp minor pairs. And that is very good because sometimes you can see that movement on euro dollar and euro Australian dollar, the trades are going in the same direction, but euro Australian dollar will make 20 or 30% more pips than euro dollar itself. So that is why we need to have and why we need to exploit momentum and sharp price movements to our favor. We can also make counter trend scalps. I will also show you how to turn counter trend scalp into intraday position, and with breakouts, because breakout trades, especially if you trade breakouts as trigger happy trades, which I already explained on our previous webinar, breakout trades are also a form of scalp trades. And definitely leverage which you use for scalping is always a little bit higher than leverage which you should use for intraday positioning. For example, if you're trading with 0.5 lots on intraday position with 30 pip stop, with 15 pip stop, you can basically double the position and have the same overall risk. It's also important knowing when to scalp, because not always the market is good for scalping. Low momentum can be scalped. I already showed that on previous webinar, some of webinars. But the thing is, if you go with low momentum trading, you definitely cannot use this technique and you cannot hope for some big amount of pips. If you want to go with low momentum trading, that is only done with simple scalping, which requires to grab only 3 to 5 pips. And generally, I don't like to scalp during low momentum sessions. Really, it's not my favorite, because very often happened that I'm stuck in a trade and I need to wait for some news to push the price to the upside or pull it down. But you never know with the news. So actually using scalps without the momentum and waiting for news is not a good option for scalping. I also tend to avoid range bound scalping because most profitable scalping trades I have had so far were during the course of a good trend. So I tend to avoid the range and scalp mostly during the trend. Also concerning London and New York session, that is the best time knowing when to scalp. London and New York cross session will usually give us the best overall momentum which is used for scalping, but not only that, it will also give us good and potentially higher targets to make. This little trick which I'm going to show you definitely has most success with trend market and during London and New York session. The thing is, guys, when you see that market is moving, that is the time when you should sharpen your forex tools and try to grab some pips out of the market. If you are not sure when to make a scalp or not, then that's not the problem of the market. That's your problem, and you should always consider having a good scalping system or method prior to entering any trades. Good scalping setups are always and usually found 10 minutes prior and 10 minutes after TOTH. TOTH means top of the hour, and TOTH trades usually will give you best overall momentum for trading scalping setups. Okay? Now, the best overall experience with scalping will come during the first 3 hours of each session. And now, while I'm talking about sessions, I need to say we need to take care only those major sessions when major market is open. That means London open, New York open, and Tokyo open. I definitely don't like to take any trades during New Zealand Wellington Open because market is very, very, very slow. And the thing is, we can also see spread widening as soon as market opens up. So I personally don't like to trade during the slow moving market and during Wellington and New Zealand market. Best sessions are definitely London, New York cross session, and Tokyo Open. Okay? Then also you probably noticed that during NFP days, and NFP is held each first Monday of a month. So Friday. And if you notice that NFP Fridays are very, very, very calm before NFP. That is because big money, smart money, is waiting for NFP official result to either go with a trade or to maybe reverse some trades. I specifically said NFP Monday also because NFP Monday can be very, very dangerous, and you can see that euro dollar, contrary to many opinions, went short today instead of bouncing back from 1.092030 up to 1.100. If you followed my trading setup, 20 to 30 pips, because my trading setup specifically, you can check it on Forex Street also, and Admiral Markets technical analysis page. Yesterday I put a setup where we could buy euro dollar at 1.092230 and place a target at 1.100. What happened is market rejected the price from point of confluence and basically gave us initially 30 pips of the profit. But the thing is, I was really aiming for bigger target. And what happened afterward, after 2 or 3 rejections, the pair rejected from 1.0960 and dropped 1.0833. So that is the case with NFP Monday. And that is the time when I really don't like to trade, and I tend to stay away from such market conditions. NFP, which is held on Friday, usually continues on Monday, and that is why we call it NFP Monday. Stress tests are also very dangerous, so it's not held very often, but if you see in the Forex calendar that stress test is going to be held that particular day, try to stay away from the market. Bank holidays, definitely I don't support trading during bank holidays, because bank holidays are also very dangerous to trade. And now you will ask me why. Back in year of 2009, I was talking to my friend who worked for a big hedge fund, and he told me a big truth, and that is really the truth in Forex trading, guys, and generally trading the markets. When bank holidays are happening, there are no one to defend those levels. Have you noticed euro dollar behavior yesterday? It went through 1.100 to effectively reach 1.1035. Now guys, there was no bank to defend these levels. And that was a complete fake out. Many traders were led to believe that they should buy euro dollar when it drops to, let's say, previous swing, which happened at 1.0950 or 75. The truth is, that was the level which was hit, 1.1035, the level was not being tested by a bank. There was no bank to defend the level. Who is moving the market? Big money is moving the market. Who is making trends? Smart money is making trends. Why are you making money in Forex market? Because you are following the shark. You are following smart money. And remember, always and forever, trends will be made by big money. There is no movement in the market without big banks and big players. The thing is, while banks are on holidays, we tend to believe that the market is having a trend. No, there is no trend. There is no trend during bank holidays. And my only suggestion is, stay away from bank holidays. Do not look at the charts, because sometimes not having a position is equal to having a profitable position. That is the big truth in Forex trading. Okay? Now when we went through all of these things which are important for scalping and general trading, we can talk about specific scalping rules for making scalp trades into intraday position. Now I will talk generally, guys. Scalping is usually 5 to 10 pips. I don't know which kind of trading system you use for scalping, but definitely most of trading systems out there use 5 to 10 pips targets, occasionally a little bit more, but 5 to 10 pips for taking profits. My advice for scalping is to use hourly pivot point or fixed target by using ATR stop indicator. Usually scalping is done 10 to 15 pips. It's not the same as high frequency trading, but the risk is bigger, okay? Intraday trading means that you are trading intraday position during the day. Usually one or two positions are traded during each day, and you usually need to wait a couple of hours for trade to either take profit, hit your target price, or maybe hit your stop loss. Usually we do TOTH trading, at least I do it, which is 1 hour time frame, and I don't particularly wait for the candle close. I trade at the price, but some systems trade after the candle closes. Then we also have MTF trading, which aligns lower time frames with higher time frame trends. Okay, so you need to have a trend, then you need to have loss of momentum. This is retracement, so-called loss of momentum. And once you have a retracement, you need to align retracement with higher time frame trend for a better entry, because you don't want to be long here, you want to be long after the retracement, okay? And intraday targets are usually daily pivot point targets and previous swing low and high. Now, for turning scalp into intraday position, you need to have either an hourly pivot point indicator or ATR with levels indicator. Okay, this is a requirement for turning scalps into intraday positions. Okay, knowing only resistance 1, 2, 3 or support 1, 2, 3 for that particular level, hour or ATR level is enough. So this is the requirement. You need to have this before you want to turn scalp into intraday position. Okay? Those are momentum trades. And if you don't have indicator, which I will show you later, then you can email me and I will send you this ATR indicator, which is very, very good for trading both scalps and intraday positions. Those are momentum trades, and we definitely want to exploit momentum by turning scalps into intraday. Okay? So first we will see the rules, then I will show you chart examples. So first rule, use hourly pivot point or ATR indicator with level. Once the price is initially in the profit 10 pips, then you don't take any profits, but you need to move your stop loss to break even. Okay? When the price reaches next support on resistance level, which is displayed by the indicator, and breaks it by 3 or 5 pips, move stop loss to that particular support or resistance level. Okay? And if the price proceeds to next level and breaks it, okay, move your stop loss again. That way you will be riding the momentum. Okay? Now obviously this is the requirement if you have a good scalping system, and that scalping system really has a good rules for taking trades. I'm using personally my Camarilla MACD 5-minute scalping, but I'm not saying it's the only one. I think there are also very good scalping systems out there. You can use this technique to effectively turn a scalp into intraday position. So let's see first example with hourly pivot point indicator. Here at this part of the screen, this is hourly pivot point indicator, which changes level each single hour. So effectively, the indicator hourly pivot point is giving you levels which are dynamically shifted after 1 hour candle close. For example, then I will show you other example which where I put ATR indicator with levels. So let's say that you have made your entry here, because that is that entry goes with rules for scalping trades for your system. Okay? So you have made an entry here. After price, and your initial stop loss is here. Okay? After the price makes 10 pips, okay, and this is next level, you should move stop loss to break even. So you do not close any trade, you just need to move your stop loss to break even. Now, if there is enough momentum in the market will try to reach next resistance. Okay? Now, if this resistance is reached, this is the same example, you can see. So this resistance is reached, it was broken by 3 to 5 pips, you just move your stop loss to this level and wait for further momentum to the upside. If there is no momentum to push the price to next resistance, you will take very occasionally double the profit from your trade. So initially our target, because that is the scalping system which tells us, okay, grab 5 or 10 pips, our target was this point here, first resistance, which is usually around 10 pips. But we need to make some sacrifice. We will not take any profits. We will wait for momentum. And you can see momentum is pushing to the upside, and we already moved our stop loss to break even. Now, guys, we are having a free ride. We are having a free ride in the market. Okay? What happens is price goes initially in our direction. Okay, goes a little bit lower, but it doesn't hit stop loss, which is now on break even. But instead, the price hits our resistance and breaks it for 3 pips. Now we just need to be quick and move stop loss to this resistance. Instead of taking 10 pips, we took 18 pips total. So basically our scalp was turned into a scalp swing trade. Okay? This is also the example on Australian dollar. This example is actually an example from today. If you followed my analysis of Australian dollar on weekly Forex recap with other markets, you could have seen that I have made an analysis to sell Australian dollar at 1.7700, and you could have made 30 to 40 pips. Okay? And now at this example, you can see that Australian dollar is indeed in downtrend, okay, even on M5. And this is the time where we can see what happened today with Australian dollar. So this was per my system. Ante is saying, 76.30. Yes, Ante, I'm glad that you made 70 pips. I personally gave advice to secure profit after 30 pips in initial pips. So great, if you're 70 pips in profit, even better. That's actually great. But the thing which I wanted to say, this is, for example, it goes with my method. This is the scalping entry here at this price. Now, this is obviously the first level. Now, I'm not talking specifically, Danny, for Camarilla, because this is general knowledge for scalping, because not all traders are trading Camarilla. These are also not classic pivots. This is indicator called ADTR indicator, which also plots these levels. Okay. now the question is not how did I enter, the question is how you should manage the trade with your system. And maybe later during these webinars I will show you other scalping system, but this also has to do with your system. You just need to have these levels on your charts. And let's say that you had your entry here. So obviously your first target, because you're scalping, would be here, right? At this particular level. Now you can see that the price has hit this level, but you are not making any exits out of market. You're still waiting. When price hit this level here, you just need to move your stop loss to entry. That's called moving stop loss to break even. Now you're waiting for a further momentum push. And you can see that there is indeed momentum push giving you next target. Okay, so instead of taking round about 7 or 8 pips here, you just gained 15 pips more and you're 20 pips in a profit. And even more, here you're 30 pips in a profit. Now obviously your scalping system will not tell you to grab 30 pips. It would have told you to grab 5, 6 instead of 30 pips. So you can grab the profit, or you can try to exploit even more momentum by placing your stops here, guys. Now you can sacrifice 30 pips for maybe 10 pips of a profit, but what would I suggest is, once the price breaks this level, 30 pips is always good with scalping, take the profit or move your stops here. Because if you're lucky enough and there is also another momentum push in the market, you can also hope to see this level. Okay? So this is the technique which I use occasionally when I do scalp trades. Instead of taking 5 or 6 pips, I'm aiming for much bigger pip count by using this special technique. And this special technique has been giving me very good profits, concerning that I'm trading mostly on intraday basis, guys. Now the question is, obviously, after you have made initial profits and after you made a good money with trading momentum and trend, what we should do with counter trend positions. Now obviously there is also another rule which takes counter trend positioning in mind, and that is what I will be showing you here. Okay, but let's see the general consensus. Try to spot the main trend first. Now this system should have a now moment trend, which is the trend which has been happening in now moment, but also not just now moment trend, but also higher time frame momentum trend. Okay? That way you usually will be able to scalp in higher time frame trend using lower time frame alignment. Okay, so try to spot the main trend first. If your system takes that into account, it's even better. As I say, some good systems take care of now moment and higher time frame trends. Okay? This technique will definitely have more success with trend following trades. So if you want to go with trend following, this technique will have even more success with those trend following trades. Okay? For counter trend setups, we apply basically the same rules. Okay? So this is counter trend setup. Maybe in one of our future webinars, I will be showing you how to take counter trend trades, and maybe that will be exclusive webinar with Forex Street. And the main thing is you need to be aware of, let's say, N pattern, which is used for making counter trend trades in bearish markets. So according to this system, this entry was exactly at this point, and initial stop loss is placed here. Once I hit the first resistance, which is here, I will use my technique to place my stop loss to my entry point, and I will wait for momentum push. This momentum here gave me another target here, and look at this now. We were initially aiming for 10 pips, and by using this technique we actually got another 30 pips. Okay, and when this level was broken, I can move my stop loss here, waiting for another level to be hit. So you can go for some 30 to 35 pips using this technique. Okay, so guys, this is the technique which I use for turning scalps into intraday position. It's very simple. It's not a rocket science. And you can see this technique is actually taking manually moving stop loss to previous important swing highs and lows. And as I said, for taking this technique into account, you should definitely pay attention to have either hourly pivot points or ATR indicator with levels, as I have it here on chart, and you also should have a system which uses now momentum with higher time frame momentum. Okay, guys, so these are very, very important rules for you if you want to have a good method for basically turning scalp trades into intraday. And that occasionally means turning 10 pips of a profit into 30 pip of a profit. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now. If you don't have questions, then we can assume that the webinar is indeed over, and we can basically call it a day. If you don't have an indicator, which I showed you here, you can email me, and I will email you this indicator, so you can try to see how it works with your system. But general opinion and general how I teach people to do is moving stop losses this way if you scalp, to effectively go for 30 or 20 pips instead of 10 pips. Okay? Danny is asking link for PP, please. Sorry, Danny, this webinar is being recorded, and I think it will be uploaded on Forex Street webinar. So if you don't have my email is tarantulalfix@gmail.com, so you can ask me for indicator. Just send me an indicator, and I will be glad to send you. So this is my indicator, okay? So this is my email, and yeah, this is also one of the indicators I use for turning scalps into intraday positions, okay? Sure, you're welcome. So if you have any further questions, do not hesitate to ask me. If you don't have any questions, then definitely we can call it a day. Okay, I don't see any questions at this moment. The only thing which I can tell you, try to stay away from trading during late hours, because next day will give you more opportunities than today. And And be sure to follow the analysis which I do for us Forex Street, because definitely it can help you to take. And the thing is, if you use proper money management with a proper system and method, you're instantly 70% on the winning side. Believe me that, guys. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for paying attention. I wish you a very, very good evening and a successful week, and I will talk to you very soon. Cheers and trade safe.